in the charge of Jerry Armstrong. Well, as always when Pete is playing on fast courts or on any courts, his serve can be an absolutely dominant factor. It can also be a little frail.
That's the sort of start that Sampras wants. 2 first serves and 2 very good volleys. Very good low volleys. I was going to see a lot of that. Good serves to the backhand, good backhand returns and good volleys. A bit of luck.
Well, an ominous start for Hewitt to see those huge serves coming in so regularly. 4 first serves in the first service game. Full marks we'll give him, shall we?
Yes, he's gone to past that grade, past that test. Give him a little gold sticker for that, gold star for being a good boy in that first game. Now Hewitt, to be interesting, I don't think he'll be coming to the net. His game is at the back of the court, but he's going to have to do a lot more with the short balls today than he did yesterday and for the rest of the week.
Love 15.
Serve hit the right on the line. Sampras having a good close look at that. It's the chalk. Quite often just flies up in the air. Stops.
Let. First service.
Forehand that was.
15-30.
Rallying from the back of the court. Look at that, only halfway up the court. Shoulder height. Sampras can get right into that one. Whew. Look at that rotation. Follow through. Now this is something we don't see too often these days. The big backhand down the line and following it up, attacking the second serve without actually the chip charge. 2 break points for Sampras, the first game of Hewitt's.
Game Sampras.
Already made to feel the pressure.
Sampras leads 2 games to 0.
This is a classic case of why you have to attack a second serve, why you have to make the most when you get that second serve. I could almost guarantee that when I played or when I coach and recommend somebody to come in and chip charge or attack a second serve, guaranteed within 2 games to get a double fault. That time it came in, just puts that doubt in the server's mind.
Love 15.
Said yesterday that the sun was a little bit awkward at this time of day. If you look at the shadow, you'll see that the right-hander at the far end will be looking, particularly in this court, towards the direction of the sun.
Point.
Love 30.
Well, that is just absolutely incredible. A perfect volley and an absolute perfect passing shot.
We'll go. There's one more. Wait, please. $15-30.
And certainly the ball is rising quite high. It's very firm, partly because of the excessive heat. And I think David Kimpton, the head groundsman, will be very pleased with the way. There he is, on the left of your picture there, with his team. But he uses the heavy roller on this court.
15-40.
And it does make the ball bounce nice and true and high.
It's his son in the middle as well. You see grooming in his footsteps. 2 break points, 2 break back points.
Sampras leads 2-1.
So the battle is truly joined. Each man has thrown down the gauntlet. This fellow with his absolutely wonderful accuracy from the back of the court, and Sampras at the start, that opening service game, which by now seems a long time ago already. It's only 3 games ago, but the 4 first serves that were so successful in the first game failed him in the second. There's Bridget Wilson, who is Pete's girlfriend. He has a great team of support here, including Paul Annacone, just in the bottom right-hand corner of the picture. His coach, who took over from Tim Gullickson when Tim sadly suffered from a brain tumour. And Walt Landers, the trainer, the massage man, who was telling me that he won a 5,000-metre race in Poland. But he's done a couple of marathons, you know.
Done more than a couple. He's trying to break the world record for over 45s.
And here are the parents of Lleyton Hewitt. Sherilyn is a PE teacher, and Glyn was a former Aussie rules footballer. One, two.
Love 15.
That took him completely out of court, that. And look at the follow through of Sampras. Wow. Right up behind his head. Is there any way to get that ball up and get it curling away at the same time with a lot of pace? Lazy shot there.
15 all.
was a big point to let go. Really was a quite an easy backhand there. Could have done anything with that. That was for love 30. Now it's back to 15 all.
(30-15).
Meat and drink to this young man. The half-court ball with the two-hander.
Out. 30 all.
That's good.
40-30.
Just a little bit slower. 110. He'll serve over 120 a lot of the time. In fact, I think that, Pat, is an area of his game that has improved hugely over the last 12 months.
Deuce.
And that's what Sampras, again, is trying to say. If you drop a second serve short, you're in big trouble. Again, trying to put pressure on Hewitt. Hewitt is going to be trying to go to the forehand of Sampras, which is the more erratic side. So in the big points.
Advantage Hewitt.
He's got a younger sister here in London at the moment, competing in a junior tournament at Thames Ditton, and I think she's going to try and pop over after her first round match and hope to catch the end of this one.
Game Hewitt. Two games all.
So a very mature service game that on a perfect day, not a cloud in sight. A little bit of breeze, thank goodness, to cool us off a little bit, but we're sweltering, all of us, particularly the players, of course, having to run about. Oh. Not often do you hear foot fault called against Sampras.
Oh, another one. Sampras even stayed
Love 15.
in that corner of the court, or that half of the court. Look where he is, Sampras. He still couldn't do anything with that. Look at that power. Trying to get his weight into that somehow.
15 all.
Sampras gambling, going straight onto that backhand again. One of the best backhand returns in the world, Lleyton Hewitt backhand. I'd say that more than anything has brought him to where he is in the rankings.
(30-15).
It's an incredible bounce, incredible slice that he has on this serve.
Is that an easy serve to read, Sampras's?
Can't pick it up at all. That's the beauty about Sampras' serve.
40-15.
Of course, the great servers are those who can, with the same toss and just a quick switch of the wrist at the hitting moment, vary the direction.
40-30.
It's one of the criticisms I have of Sampras. There's not many things he doesn't do very well, but a slow ball to his backhand down low, he does tend to chop it. And you'll see him miss quite a lot of those. It's not easy to get a low ball to his backhand. It's a slow one from that serve, though.
Deuce.
Well, Hewitt taking advantage of what some players consider the lack of a kick serve, a big kick serve in Pete Sampras' game. He likes to go for the slice or the flat serves, second serves.
Yes, well played. Got him going the wrong way.
Good return,
Advantage
set that up.
Hewitt.
There's nothing Sampras could do other than get the ball back. Break point.
Game Hewitt. Hewitt leads 3 games to 2.
Well, the returning of the serve is absolutely wonderful to behold today.
Standard of tennis so far has been phenomenal. That Hewitt backhand spoke about. Sampras was trying to go into the body. The body serve here, it wasn't quite deep enough. Now for a serve into the body, it's got to be a little bit deeper, and it would follow Hewitt a bit more and jam him up. But it's just a quick shuffle to the left. He had enough time, because it wasn't quite as much pace or depth. And once he's on that backhand return, he misses very few.
Made a phenomenal rise in the World Games since that first tournament success in Adelaide when he was 16, beat Agassi in the semis, Stoltenberg in the final. A tournament that he's won twice now. He won it this year, beat Norman Enquist rather in the final, having lost to Enquist in the previous year's final. So his hometown has been good to him, Adelaide, where he was first coached by Peter Smith, whose son Luke Smith became the NCAA champion a few years ago. Since then, Darren Cahill has been looking after him, and Darren's with him here now. Here he is, Killer Cahill. Great character. Unfortunately, injury put him out of the game early. With a break then, 3-2.
Oh! 15 love. First service.
Just apologising to Sampras for the let cord, but in fact
30 love.
there was nothing Sampras could do much more than he did, but the accuracy of this passing shot again, just breathtaking. Something in his eye. Well,
40 love.
well, that's up there among his faster serves, 120.
Lleyton Hewitt. Hewitt leads 4 games to 2.
Well, I think that attempted drop shot tells a story, don't you?
It does indeed. Frustration. Hewitt's chasing down all Sampras's big shots. Sampras isn't getting any free points on his own serve. I'd say a little bit of confusion.
$15 love.
Had a light dart of tournaments this year, Sampras, because he's been injured, sadly. All those injuries behind him now, we hope. This is only his 6th tournament of the year.
$15
Not quite far enough away. Not quite hard enough. Only 114 miles an hour.
$30-15. $40-15.
Well, his sort of serves any way you can actually stop Lleyton Hewitt from getting the ball back into play. Just the incredible unreturnable aces he's only hit 2 of.
Oh.
Well picked.
Pet Sampras. Ball change, please. New balls. Hewitt leads 4 games to 3.
So Sampras guessing right on the intended pass, but he's having to pull out some fine shots to hold this young man on a sweltering day. We've had record crowds here this year. 50,464 patrons have visited the tournament, more than in any previous year, in our 22nd year of Stella Artois.
Now I'd like people to have a look at the way this serve bounces. We can end up seeing the serve where it bounces. Now this is what I was talking about before. This is Pete Sampras's best kick serve. It's slicing in and keeps coming in. Now a kick serve should go the other way, and this is certainly what I've noticed, and a few of the players are starting to notice, that Pete Sampras does not have that kick serve.
Time.
That's going straight onto Lleyton Hewitt's backhand.
It's a topspin serve, really, isn't it?
It's a slight topspin serve. It's not nearly as big a kick as some of the players have.
If you think back to somebody like Neil Fraser, who was also a lefty in addition to being a wonderful serve. I mean, his had a kick like a mule, didn't it?
It did, and that's a great advantage on the grass court. And it's certainly against a small guy like Lleyton. I mean, he's not that small. He's 5'11", but by today's standards he is. He's not going to be able to get much relief away from Hewitt.
15 love. $30 love.
And the frustration showing here in just over-hitting that relatively straightforward forehand.
$40 love.
Well, that's a shot that he wasn't going to go for yesterday. He was quite happy to rally and out-rally Potsy. He realised he has to go for these against Sampras, and up to date, he's hit every one in.
Oh, using his opponent's speed.
40-15.
And a guess to which way Hewitt was going to go. No backs, follow through. Whoa, no follow through whatsoever. That one, that Hewitt shot skidded through. Just sort of jabbed his racket at the ball.
$40-30.
That's the first time we've seen Sampras slice across to the forehand, much like Potsy was doing yesterday with his backhand, being a left-hander, slicing across court. Hewitt wasn't able to do much with those forehands.
Deuce.
You don't see those too often, do you? That was a very wild forehand. Just didn't quite get in the right position.
Advantage Hewitt. Lleyton Hewitt. Hewitt leads 5-3.
So keeping his mind marvellously focused at the moment, as he did yesterday until the very end of his match against Potsy, when there was just a little waver. 3-5.
15 love. $30 love.
You can hear the strings being adjusted in Hewitt's racket. This is a habit he has. Never stops doing that between points.
$30-15.
Two hands on the grip. Standing with a backhand grip, as most people do when people are serving at them.
40-15.
You see the bottom hand, the right hand has got the forehand grip, and the top hand is the backhand grip. So it's very easy to quickly change. Unlike the two Brits who use backhands.
Game Sampras.
No, backhand grips. I'm getting myself confused.
Backhand grips, that's what it is.
Hewitt leads 5-4.
Absolutely essential for Sampras to have held serve there. He doesn't want Hewitt to run away with this one. But at the moment he's suffering the penalty of not being penetrating enough on some of his approaches and volleys, because the returns that he's getting from Hewitt are just too good.
At the moment he's not being troubled at all by Sampras' second serve. And that's what you have to do, really. You have to take advantage of the second serve when it comes. The best players in the world will not let you get away with any free points. If you hit a second serve, they'll make you pay the penalty, or at least make you play a terrifically difficult volley. And, you know, it boils down to, I think, the lack of grass court play, a lack of players who come to the net and hit volleys. And, you know, Pete Sampras having not played a lot of matches, and, you know, I don't think his volleys are as sharp as he would like them. 10 years ago and 15 years ago, you would have seen Boris Becker and John McEnroe, myself, Stefan Edberg, diving all over the net, hitting volleys and not missing very many of them.
Well, Lanacone there, he'll be a little concerned, I would think, at the moment, the way his horse is galloping.
At the end of the day, he's obviously, they're aiming for Wimbledon, but still, I think this might be, this kid might be a real threat, not only here, but at Wimbledon, of course, as well.
Serving then for the first set.
Love.
I expected Pete Sampras to get to that a little bit quicker than he did. Well played from Hewitt, opening up the court.
All. 30-15.
Again, going out to the Sampras forehand on the big points. Fourth ace. Perfect time. Certainly an unforced error there. Was not a difficult forehand. He overplayed it. His mistake has given Hewitt 2 set points.
Good serve.
Playing the first set. Hewitt.
Painful minutes for Sampras.
By 6 games to 4, set break.
So Hewitt taking the initiative, just as he did last year. He won the opening set in their match here in the semi-finals after half an hour, 6-4. So he's done exactly the same thing. Then it was a break in the third game, just one break. This time he's had to break twice because you'll remember he trailed Love 2. But how accurately and confidently he's hitting his passing shots and returns.
Really going to be interesting to see how Sampras comes up, replies to this great set that Hewitt's played. Sampras can tend to get sort of a bit of a lot of people say a hangdog expression, and sort of trot around as if the tournament doesn't really mean that much to him anymore. But of course he has all those weapons that at any stage, when he starts hitting his strings, can hit winners and aces left, right and centre. But at the moment, it looks like the more determined Hewitt, and this is what has brought this kid to the top 10 players of the world. his determination. Every point is important to him. He hustles to every single point.
Which is why they have to
Time.
give him breaks, don't they? They can't, you know, he has to plan his whole campaign well with breaks in there because he's so intense. But
Yeah.
I've told you about the heat, and if you look at the temperature, it's over 30 degrees in the shade. 30 is 86, and there it is. It's above that. It's about 88 in the shade. And in the
Second
sun,
set,
goodness knows,
Sampras to serve.
knocking 100.
Fault!
Fifteen love.
Sampras going into the body on that serve. It really took off. This court is very, very hard at the moment. The hardest grass court ever seen. Yes.
Fifteen
There
all.
was really only one shot that Hewitt could have played here, and that was it. Sampras was not willing to cover it at all. Barely got the racket on the ball.
And he took a bit off that
15-30.
serve, did Sampras, making sure to get it in, but he didn't get close enough, having to play the ball right at his feet.
Thirty all.
Just another little anxious glance at the sun. At a certain time of day, you have to decide which side of the sun to throw the ball as it moves across.
40-30.
Well, the interesting thing, the service percentages, Sampras 65. Now that is very good by his standards. 50 for Hewitt, not particularly good. Adequate.
Fault!
Now the question needs to be asked, if Sampras is serving at that percentage and at that pace and it's still been broken twice, what's going on?
Game Sampras.
Well, what's going on is some very fine returning of the serve by young Hewitt.
First game, second set.
Not in that last game, perhaps, but generally his quality of return has been most impressive. Yes, the break I was talking about, you remember after the Davis Cup in February when Australia beat Switzerland, he had that marvellous win over Federer. He had a break of about a month before he went to Scottsdale because I think they'd felt he'd had such an intense start to the year and such a success and so much play that he needed to recharge the batteries.
I think it's very essential and certainly something that's lacking in a lot of players today. They just go on the roundabout, the merry-go-round, keep going round and round and round.
Love 15.
Of course, there's a fine line. Sampras has not played as many tournaments as he would have liked, or played as many matches. And there's players like Evgeny Kafelnikov who play incredible amount of tennis.
$15 all.
And Kafelnikov, incidentally, a loser yesterday in Halle in Germany to David Prinisil in the semi-final there. That was a bit of a surprise. He was the top seed. David Prinisil was a wild card, German Davis Cup man.
$30-15.
And in fact, I think, Pat, over in Halle, the other finalist is Richard Krajicek, of course, who's ranked 33 at the moment on the entry system, but is much better than that, we all know. It'll be interesting for the seedings tomorrow. see what happens to people like Krajcik if he
40,
wins, as
50.
he probably will in Halle.
Again, Hewitt.
Wow. Some great serving there.
1 game all.
7 aces now he's served. And that's worrying, because that's not really the strength of Hewitt by the way we normally look at his game, but as I say, it has improved hugely over the year.
Love 15.
Well, he certainly didn't move very well to that one.
Oh, he was so lucky.
15 all.
Well, Sampras got that on the frame. Hewitt sticking his racket out. It's like the test runners, a test batsman putting their bat out with the hope of getting to the mark on time. There was a fault called and it corrected. I think both players are a bit surprised about that. I think they would have accepted the original call. Might have just clipped the line. It's hard to say, really.
$15.30.
Well, he said that he thought his game was coming together nicely earlier in the week, but then he hadn't played anybody who returned quite as well as Hewitt does, and it's beginning to have its effect. It's his first double fault.
$30 all.
Well, really had to gamble then. Talked about either the lack or the lack of willingness of Sampras to hit a big kick serve out wide. He then went straight onto Lleyton's forehand. Lleyton missed it.
Oh, and a racket's gone.
Broken string.
And Nate Ferguson will be the lucky recipient of it, I think.
He's picking up his Vibra stop that flies out when you break the main strings. It's a little dampening bit of rubber. It takes the shock out of the rackets, certainly for a guy who strings it that tight. Very, very tight strings, very, very thin. Will break a lot of strings. It's a little black thing near the throat of his racket. A black circle put in between the mains. And you see the second serve at 30 all.
$30.40.
Mad with himself, but it was a good return again.
It wasn't the cleanest hit, but he got it back into the court. That is the most important thing. At the moment, Sampras not moving particularly well, not bowling particularly well. Every ball Hewitt gets back is a danger. And that's game.
Game Hewitt. Hewitt leads 2-1.
And it's always a wonderful thing to see a great returner of the serve against one of the game's great servers, who today is being made to look a little bit ordinary on that second serve.
He's being made to look slow, which is certainly a worrying thing. Hewitt getting out to that backhand blocking it down the line, and yet Sampras was quite happy to just to see it, watch it go past without making any attempt whatsoever in trying to get the ball. It's certainly not panic stations for Pete Sampras's Wimbledon attempt as yet, because he tends to be a bit like that leading up to it, and he was a bit like this last year. Ended up squeezing the match out against Hewitt and then going on squeezing the match out against Henman as well. But I tend to think that it's not such a bad thing for Pete Sampras to get a bit of a shell shock at this stage.
It has happened to him before when he's lost early here and gone on to win at Wimbledon. This is not losing early here, of course. On the other hand, when he came here, he'd only played 2 clay court tournaments, Hamburg and the French Open, and he'd just played 3 matches. And before that, he'd had to miss Monte Carlo with a leg injury. It still hadn't recovered in time for Rome, so he hadn't played since that Davis Cup rubber on the 9th of April, when he won against Dossadel to bring the Americans through narrowly 3-2 against the Czech Republic. In fact, he's to me playing
15 love.
like a man who is not match hardened.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've just about been riding Pete Sampras off for a number of years now. Keeps coming back and winning. Look at that, running forehand.
15 all.
That is his best forehand, the forehand across court. Look where the follow through is, right up above his head. Wow, that's a lot of power in that shot. Great serving again.
30-15.
Yeah, still grouping them in that 120 area.
Ooh.
All.
Giving himself room. Very, very flat. Not a bit of spin on that. He's going to hit it. Going to go for a winner. He had to hit it very flat. Sampras is realizing he's in real trouble. He has to come up with some big shots now.
40-30.
There's that forehand return again.
Yes, the pace did it again. Scream of anguish from young Hewitt,
Deuce.
who is an absolute perfectionist. He reckons that he got the racket on the ball, he should have made the shot. Well,
He did. He got it there a bit quicker than he expected. I think he went for a bit too much. Didn't quite need to hit the angle that he went for.
Advantage Hewitt. Again Hewitt.
served so well today.
Hewitt leads 3-1.
He knew he was going to, or expected to see him hit his ground strokes well, but the serving, wow.
Certainly improved on yesterday, wasn't it?
Oh, huge improvement. 8 aces and many other winning serves.
$15 love.
%60 now for Hewitt. Sampras is dropping quickly.
Out!
15 all.
Well, Pete Sampras just rolled that serve in. It was like attempting to do his kick serve. Now, that's his slowest first serve he's probably hit for years. Maybe he was trying to do a bit of a change, variety.
$30-15.
What has been happening? Even some of his best first serves had come back so fast and past him that he thought perhaps he'd take a little pace off and
Try something different, huh?
try something different, make his opponent think.
$40-15. Pet Sampras. Hewitt leads 3 games to 2.
3 games to 2 with his 5th ace of the match.
Well, let's have a look at Pete Sampras' forehand return. Now, he's done a number of mistakes. I'm just interested in his... That's a forehand from the back of the court that we saw him hit so well. That's from the shot at from the back of the court. That's when he has a bit more time. Now, these are the ones where he doesn't have any time. Right on the frame. Just trying to push the ball back. Now, his grip is different. That's very much a continental grip. His hand is right on top of the racket. Here's another complete mishit. See, right on the frame. I actually wonder whether he's seeing the ball, whether the court is a bit faster than he expected
Time.
today, being with the heat. Certainly not timing the ball very well.
Well, the ball is certainly very, very fast through the air today, isn't it?
Ivan Lendl used to had of course, won a couple of times here. And he, in 89 and 90, of course, he never did well at Wimbledon. The courts here tend to be a bit harder and a bit quicker, and therefore it's a bit harder to return serve. Nobody could return Lendl's serve, but at Wimbledon, we're a little bit slower. We could certainly get a lot more returns back. And I dare say this is exactly what's happening with Sampras today. Hewitt is serving well, and Sampras just isn't making the returns.
15 love.
Oh, really struggling there now. Just trying to slice that forehand back into the court. Struggling to do that. Just shows you how good Hewitt's returns really are.
Fault. $15 all.
Fourth double fault for Hewitt. Just a splattering of them amongst some great serving, generally speaking.
$30-15.
That was well out.
I think he won it
14,
twice.
15.
He did win it twice. Hewitt would have been very upset if he had lost that point, but that call was considerably out.
And the linesman actually signalled it in. It wasn't as if he was obstructed, as sometimes happens. Extraordinary call, or extraordinary no call.
Oh!
Would you believe it?
Ball change, please. New balls.
Not too sure. He didn't think this forehand Sampras was out as well. But Sampras is standing
Hewitt
right
leads
there.
4 games to 2.
Yep, half in and half out. And you wonder why Sampras didn't cover that. Look, he's standing right there. Why doesn't he hit it?
Well, let's put it charitably down to lack of match play.
There's no attempt at hitting it. Okay, if you go for it and you miss it.
$15 love.
Well, he actually had nothing to play there at all.
30 love.
The lob would have been the perfect shot, and Hewitt is one of the most adept at that particular shot. We saw him hit 2 or 3 the other day. Absolute gems.
Let's.
There's another factor, of course, Pat.
40 love.
Sampras really hasn't played anyone this week who has been seeded, and he hasn't played anybody who has got the same sort of aggression that Hewitt displays.
Game Sampras. Hewitt leads 4 games to 3.
4 games to 3 with a break, and in the last couple of Hewitt service games he hasn't really been very troubled.
Not at all. Sampras is not making the returns that he should be. Certainly doesn't seem to be even particularly bothered about missing returns. Hewitt is fired up, ready to go, wants to win this tournament. And
From the alternative voice, you're wondering whether Sampras really does. I'm sure he does want to win, but
well, the question is about Pete Sampras is that certainly there's been a question mark about his play in recent years. Is he's happy to win as long as it's not tough. And if he really has to fight and whatever, and you know things aren't going well, then he starts moping around the court. And but the other side of the coin is that all of a sudden, if things start going right, boy, do they go right. And of course, he has so many weapons in his game that if one thing goes off, it doesn't generally go off for very long. Maybe only a match or half a match or even a set sometimes. Service percentage bouncing all over the place. Sampras is still quite high. Those aces for Hewitt have come at the right times. And he's a couple, one or so in this game, and one in the next game.
Faults.
Well, that was in, for my money. I thought it was when he hit it. Saw the chalk come up. Well, what great play.
15 love.
A good volley. He's gone down the line every single time. This time, under real pressure, he goes across court. And he's happy about that one.
All.
Sampras seems to be hitting that forehand well when he has a bit of time. Second serve a bit short.
Let's first service.
Oh dear, little turds.
Rushed again.
30-15.
Taking a real hammering, that forehand today.
Ha!
40-15.
Would be a real feather in his young cap, wouldn't it, to beat the former world #1 on grass. 3 losses behind him. Oh, surely. Well, I have to say, I felt it was long.
He's not too happy about it, that's for sure. Oh, it's hard to
Well,
say from this angle, isn't it?
perhaps it clipped the edge of the line.
Certainly very difficult to see.
He couldn't possibly overrule Jerry. It was certainly not a clear mistake. It was very, very close.
40-30.
From this angle, it looked like it was out, so I have to say, knowing Lleyton, he wouldn't complain about a call unless he was certainly sure about it. He puts his head down now. He still has game point.
All you can do is forget. Ah, well played. Just a trifle short, that's all it was. Look where this
Deuce.
bounces. Halfway up the court, or 3/4 of the way up the court. He has time. We're hearing more and more around the tournaments of the world as he pumps himself up. What a competitor.
Well, he's happy about that. The second serve, Sampras had dealt severely with the last couple of second serves. And
Let first service.
again going to the Sampras forehand on the big point.
Deuce.
Gee, Sampras really let go in those rallies. He's so timid of coming to the net at the moment because of Lleyton's passing shots. He had to hit 3 blinding shots that landed inside the service line before he was willing to come in the net.
Advantage Hewitt. Again, Hewitt. Hewitt leads 5 games to 3.
And as the crowds swelter in this sun, Sampras has been really made to work so hard here.
Love 15.
He's going to go and quickly change his racket. Get the string saver. He's going to put a little bit of plastic in between the strings. The last thing he wants to do is have a broken string or having to change a racket on break point.
$15 all.
Seen too many confident serve and volley points like that from Sampras today. He really needs to put the pressure on Hewitt here by grabbing this game.
$15-30.
Suddenly come to life.
Attempting the cross-court pass that fooled Sampras last time.
30 all.
Sampras just a little more wary. He thought that Hewitt was going to go for that one because he didn't quite have the angle down the line.
$40-30.
Getting up to that one with ease. Not quite deep enough, that defensive lob. Seems to be at last seeing a few good serve and volley points from Sampras.
Game Sampras.
Is it too late?
Hewitt leads 5 games to 4.
So a poignant moment, particularly for Hewitt, because he's never beaten this great man before. 3 losses stand against his name, and now the chance in 4 points he could make it 1 win, and that is always the moment that is the most difficult, particularly against the great players.
It's a good play from Sampras. He's saying, okay, well, I mightn't be playing my best, but if you're good enough, let's see you finish this match off.
But you would say, I think, Pat, that he's not afraid to win, ever, Hewitt.
Oh, no, he's out there, he loves it. And, of course, he's very happy to play the game that he's been playing, which he plays on every surface. And I've got to say, can you think of a player that has actually won Queens and never served and volleying 1 single ball in the whole week?
Oh,
That's how much the game has
That
changed on the
time.
grass these days.
That is a good question. I can't. No, I really can't.
Not one single ball for the whole week as he's served and volleyed. These courts are so perfect. In my personal opinion, it's just gone too far now. The attempt to try and slow the game down, try and prevent the big servers, never prevent the big servers, killing the volley act.
Well, here is one of the big servers.
He is today, that's for sure.
And we'll hope for his sake that it's big enough, because he needs these next 4 points. Shades of Boris Becker, who on this very same court in 1985 dived all over the place like this and made miraculous shots.
15 love.
And we all thought, my goodness, here is a special talent. And in Becker's case it was, and in this young man's case it is.
That's just what he needed. The first point of that, serving for the title.
The 15 all.
He does like that off forehand going out to the backhand side. What you mightn't have seen on screen was the fact that Sampras took a couple of steps. We'll take the first big step into that backhand corner, which Hewitt obviously saw out of the corner of his eye.
30-15.
Well, his biggest serve of the day.
And his 9th ace could not have come at a better time.
$40-15.
And hopelessly late on that backhand pass. 2 championship points for Hewitt. And he's done it.
Game, set, match, Hewitt. 2 sets for that. 6-4, 6-4.
There's Andre Agassi acknowledging the crowd.
Absolute delight in the Hewitt camp that the great man has been brought down at last at the 4th attempt. An hour and 13 minutes it took him to execute the win. Another symmetrical win. All but one of his matches this week have been won 6-4, 6-4, and this was another. And I don't think he can possibly have hoped to have bettered that performance. His returning of the serve was exquisite. His passing shots were marvellously accurate and precise and disguised. And no question, he was the better man on the day.
He was. He certainly handed Pete Sampras. It's hard to believe that he gets to hand Sampras a lesson on grass. This young Australian who's only been playing on grass for a couple of years.
Our runner-up today, Pete Sampras.
Well, not often does he come forward as the beaten finalist. So many times has he been the champion all over the world, but he'll accept it graciously. Judges at Gloucester giving him his cheque. £34,000, that'll come in handy. And I think he'll look back on the week as good preparation for the championships in 2 weeks' time.
Stella Artois champion, the once and future king, Lleyton Hewitt.
And what a talent this boy has, and how well he is developing it. No question that he had the promise as a 16-year-old, and its promise being fulfilled perhaps even sooner than we'd expected, particularly on grass. And I can tell you that's quite a struggle to hold aloft. I remember Jimmy Connors dropping it one year and losing the top. But it's great to have his name alongside those of the previous champions: Ivan Lendl, Stefan Edberg, Michael Stick, Todd Martin, Pete Sampras, and of course John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors, who started it all off back in 1979. And the photographers, of course, being allowed their customary fill. These are the pictures you'll see tomorrow in your morning papers. What a glorious finish then to this 22nd Stella Artois. They want another. Well, they always do, don't they? Just one more. Just like the wedding photos, isn't it? Just one more. And the girls of Nonsuch High School in Cheam, Surrey, clapping along with the rest. The ball girls who have performed so valiantly this week. And performed well in that little song, if you were watching the close of our program yesterday. So I think the formalities are over. And I think Lleyton making his way over to Sue Barker. Yes, there is.
Well, Lleyton, congratulations. How good did that feel out there today?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I got off to a little bit of a rough start, going down an early break, and that's the best I've ever returned. And I knew I had to, playing a guy like Pete, because once he gets on a roll with his serve, he's very hard to break. So, you know, I'm just thankful that I got some second serves to look at today, and it's fantastic to win this tournament.
I mean, you've played him 3 times before, and we remember the semi-final here. It was so close last year. What do you think you learnt from that?
I think I just had to go out there and return as well as I did last year. I felt like I played nearly a perfect match last year, and I still came off as a loser. And you know, it was a little disappointing last year, but you know, it's fantastic. I was just seeing the ball very well the whole week this week, and not to drop a set is great preparation going into Wimbledon as well.
And it seems as though you like playing these big servers as well.
Yeah, it's turned out that way this week. I've played 4 out of the 5 very big servers, and you know, I've just been seeing the ball like a football out there at the moment, and you know, it's a good thing to have behind me.
Talk about that shot in that last game when you fell over and still made the shot.
Yeah, well, I thought it was going to be a winner, and then Pete sort of hit a dink across court, and I really wasn't sure whether I was going to get it or not. And then I decided, well, you know, I've got nothing to lose here. I'm serving for the match and the title, so I decided to dive out to my backhand, and it's something that Darren and I have been working on back in Australia, sort of the dive rolls and that. So it paid off.
It certainly did pay off. Talking about Australia, I suppose this is a bit like a cool spring day for you here, is it?
Yes, no, it's unbelievable. Last year the weather was very ordinary over here, and the only complaint I had about coming to England was, you know, it is great to see the sunshine, and you know, you've really turned it on this week, and it's been an unbelievable week, and you know, I'd like to thank the whole crowd for coming out and supporting everyone, and particularly myself this week.
Well said. And what does this mean? I mean, you've won 3 tournaments before this. This is the 4th this year. What was your goal at the start of 2000?
Very hard to say. I was defending a lot of points towards the start of the year, and I felt like it'd be nice to sort of reach the top 10 by the end of the year. And now that I'm in the top 10, it's, you know, it's a dream come true. And you know, I haven't really thought about sort of setting goals for the Grand Slams and that yet. But my next ambition is to try and, you know, win the Masters Series events, and then eventually the Grand Slam, and hopefully cement my position in the top 10.
You say eventually the Grand Slams, but you know what we media are going to be like. We're going to be talking about it after a performance like that.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Anyway, so what plans for next week in the build-up to Wimbledon?
I'm playing Rosmalen next week in the Netherlands and then coming back for Wimbledon. So hopefully get a few more good matches under my belt and then back here on the grass in England.
Well, it was a fantastic final today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the champion, Lleyton Hewitt.